Welcome back to the New Standard Podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest by the name of Patrick Chappell.
That's right.
So Patrick is a pastor, a podcaster, and a creative force based right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Patrick is the kind of person who can lead a room in prayer, break down a Paul Thomas Anderson film, and then give you a French fry recommendation. And this is all in the same breath. So Patrick, he serves as a pastor at Otter Creek Church, and he also hosts the Patrick Podcast.
That's right.
Where he's had deep, curious, and often hilarious conversations on
We try.
everything from faith and friendship to music, movies, and meaning. Whether Patrick is behind the mic or behind the pulpit, he brings a rare mix of thoughtfulness, humor, and honesty. That was not an AI-generated introduction, by the way.
It was absolutely AI generated. No, but I think that's a good description. And it's referencing, I have as some of us do, I have several different like Instagram profiles, and one of them is a French fry account.
Wow.
So I just take pictures of French fries.
So you're just a fan of French fries?
I
and just do
love
something
French
for you.
fries. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I don't rank them. I just like say, here are the French fries, and here's what they were like.
Okay. So McDonald's or Burger King?
Oh, McDonald's.
Okay.
But I can test it like wherever you're going, if they do French fries, there's a time in which they can do them exactly right, and they'll be the best French fries.
And what time is that?
I don't know. That's a good.
Oh.
That's a good question.
So we need to further the science, Pat.
Yeah, that's so true.
Have you ever had In-N-Out fries? That's the question.
Absolutely, I love In-N-Out.
Oh, do you love the fries?
I do. That's like a hot take for some people.
Yeah, it might be judging you slightly.
That's fine. I'm
Just
fine.
slightly.
I welcome the judgment.
Yeah. Hey.
But
hey.
animal style French fries from In-N-Out is just elite.
I mean, I feel like with the animal style French fries, it's all the extra toppings that makes it what it is.
Sure, absolutely.
But the fry itself is pretty basic.
Sometimes you need something basic to elevate the extra.
Okay. Hey, I'm open to multiple takes. So, all right. But Pat, before we get started, I have to just start us in a word of prayer.
Okay.
All right.
I love it.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for giving us this moment in history to come together and to exalt and honor you. Heavenly Father, I thank you for putting Pat into my life with this move to Nashville, Tennessee. I thank you for the heart that you have given him, and I pray that you may allow your Holy Spirit to fill this room. May you guide our hearts, may you guide our tongues, may you guide our thoughts and our actions. And we just want to thank you for this very special moment. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
All right, cool. So with that, Pat, I just want to thank you for being my first guest on the rebooted version of the New Standard Podcast.
Nice. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. I had to have you as my first guest because for those of you guys who don't know, Pat he is the pastor at the Church of Christ, and I believe it was my second or third week here in Nashville. I went to that church off of a recommendation from Kayla at Ian Rose, and I was going through a really difficult time, and you just embraced me with open arms, and you took me out to lunch.
That's right.
Just off rip, you just embraced me and showed me that hospitality, and the conversation that we had, it really moved me. And even though I still am in the midst of going through that kind of like turbulent season, just knowing that I had people like you here on the ground, it meant everything to me.
Yeah. Well, you're very welcome. Just happy to do it.
Yeah.
But do it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Pat, how did we get to where you are today? You are a pastor, a podcaster, and I also know you're a DJ. So can you kind of just walk us through, like, what did that look like for you to get to this very moment in life?
That's a really great question. So I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, moved to Nashville in the early 2000s, went to school at Lipscomb University, and when I moved to Nashville, when I was graduated from high school, I had dreams of being an actor. I was like, I did some child modeling, like I did a little bit of that, growing up, but then I wanted to be this actor, went to Lipscomb, majored in theater. That didn't work out because the school just really wasn't equipped at that particular time for the thing that I wanted to do. So I pivot, and eventually became a communications major.
Okay.
Now, fast forward, I go to this camp that is hosted at the university, and at this camp, people say over and over again, you should come and do like a youth internship. You should do a youth internship. And I was like, that's not really, based on my story, my background, that was not really something I had ever aspired to be. I was never one of those kids, and many people know these folks who are like, they have a clear vision, like, I want to do fill in the blank, be a minister, be a nurse, I just didn't have that when it came to like wanting to be a youth minister. But I was convinced. I love trying new things. I love adventure. I love like putting myself in some interesting situations. So I said yes, did the internship, absolutely loved it, but I couldn't change my major because I had been bouncing around majors so much. I was like, I can't do that. But I just took every other Bible class I could while I was at Lipscomb. And then fast forward, I graduate. I try to find a job in ministry. Didn't work out for a variety of reasons. But then I landed at Lipscomb as a recruiter. And I did that for a long time and pretty much rejected like any ask to step back into working in a local church, because I was like, I love what I do. I love to travel. I love just kind of doing this work with seniors in high school. But then eventually I'm in my office one day and I get a phone call from 3 different churches in the same day.
Wow.
Asking me to come be their college young adult minister. Now, I had not put out any fillers. I didn't put out any like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. It literally was just a sign, what I would say a sign from God. It was like, okay, look, you're hard-headed, so I'm going to send you 3 signs.
You can't ignore this.
I can't ignore this anymore. And the rest is history. That's how I ended up at Otter Creek. And then with the DJing stuff, like I have always, at least in college especially, and even probably before then, but especially in college, was known for being someone who loved music, who had a somewhat good taste in music. And then I got offered to DJ like a friend's wedding. And then from there, it just kind of just snowballed. And I've been DJing for a long time now, just on the side. And recently, since I've been ramping up with that, working and doing like a corporate events and random people's weddings, and I'm doing a prom in a few weeks.
Let's go, prom. Okay.
Which I'm terrified because high school students are brutal. They are. They will just straight up boo you. They will tear
that playlist up.
They will. They'll be like, that is trash. So, and I just think that if I were to generally say how I've ended up in this life as a DJ, a podcaster, a pastor, all of it is I am someone who is an easy yes.
Okay.
And if a door is open or if a door is unlocked and it's something that I should potentially walk through, I'll just say yes to it. And I'm a big believer in that. And sometimes a yes can get you in some predicaments, but oftentimes like saying yes can lead to something beautiful. And it's being present enough. I wasn't so fixated on like what I wanted to happen in the future or what I made a mistake about in the past. I was just doing my best to be present. And it's like, okay, is this an opportunity for me to say yes to? Is it something that is potentially good? And if so, let's give it a try.
See, that definitely resonates and rings home with me.
Yeah.
The need to stay open to where life wants to take you.
Right.
Because we can get in our own ways and have this rigid view as to what our lives had to look like and what we thought it would look like. And that's something that I've actually been trying to overcome myself.
Yeah.
Just turning 30, there's this entire notion of, by 30, I'll have this, and a third.
That's right.
And I think the hardest part for me since I've turned 30 is reimagining what life could look like.
Yeah.
So hearing what you just said, it just kind of shows me that I'm very much still on my way.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just very affirming and it's reassuring to hear. And what I like about you is that you like to try new things.
That's right.
Because I feel like as soon as you start to like close yourself off to experiences and you're no longer curious, that's when you start to die.
That's right.
So I can see that your curiosity has led you to this very colorful and fulfilling life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's so true that curiosity will always can potentially lead to some really good places. And I always want to encourage people to be curious, to ask really good questions, to not only ask good questions, but listen to how someone responds to the questions that you're asking. Because even in conversation, it's not often that people will be frustrated at you if you have genuine curiosity. True. Most people are not resistant to a curious person, especially if the curiosity is coming from a genuine place.
For sure.
You know, because we all been in conversations where it feels like someone's trying to have a gotcha moment or trying to, pin you down in something that you might say or that you won't say. But if someone is genuinely curious about why it is that you are doing what you're doing or saying what you're saying or not doing what you're doing or whatever, I think it always is always helpful and always leads to some good places.
Certainly. And also, I feel like a part of social etiquette, when you are curious, it shows interest. It shows that you're engaged. It shows that you're present.
That's right.
You have an entire lived experience that I am given the privilege to get a peek into.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm very much curious about what happened in your life to get you to this place, and tell me about what those experiences were like. And I think it's the lack of curiosity when people are having conversations that you start to feel almost taken for granted, or it's like you just feel like you're not valued in that moment because they're not asking anything that's like, oh, I want to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, I love getting to know people's stories, because something that I've come to see is growing up, I've had my experience growing up in Buffalo, New York, and I kind of just thought I had this blanket assumption that everybody's life was like this.
Yeah.
You just were like, oh, like this is just the way life is. Because it was my anecdotal experience.
That's right.
But there's people who it's like for me, I grew up late 90s, early 2000s. So you got Cartoon Network, Johnny Bravo, Cat Dog, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Disney Channel original movies, and you have all of these staples to my childhood. I just kind of blanket that on all my peers. Yeah. But some people who I met here, they're like, yeah, I grew up in even though I grew up in a Christian household too, but they grew up in a very Christian household, and they were like, we weren't allowed to watch TV. Yeah. Cable.
That's wild.
So they didn't even know those shows. And I'm like, but it's like I put this blanket experience on everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And it's on me to be curious, because not everybody had my upbringing.
That's right.
So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Patrick, to get into it, today's episode is about, it's called Don't Let It Define You, Let It Refine You.
Yeah.
Just off the top of that, what does that mean to you?
Oh, that is, well, when you sent that, I was like, oh, okay, that's going to be an interesting conversation. Yeah. Or it could be a really good conversation, because I think the first thing that comes to mind is every one of us has had events, has had events that have happened to us, that we have been a part of, that definitely have marked us.
Correct.
Right. And so you think about high school. There's lots of examples that all of us could think about of things that I did, things that I said, places that I've been that have definitely marked me. And then I have a choice within this question, which is, can I let all of these events truly define me? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes that's good, but sometimes it's like, I don't necessarily need to have all of this define me, but may it be another approach where it can refine me, where it can make me into this better person, because of the past things. Right. I need to do more of this, or I need to do less of this, or I need to do this slightly different, or I need to try a different way. And I think that's a part of the refining process. We're always tinkering with how we're going to show up in the world.
Correct.
And that is an important thing, is to be in the constant process of refining and not landing. And I think some people want to land and say, okay, this is it. This is who I am, period. And it's like, no, you're going to read a new book. Yeah. You're going to listen to new music. You're going to take a trip. Like if I go to Buffalo, I will be a different person because I met folks from Buffalo who see the world completely different than me. Will I let that refine me and change me and shape me? Not that I become something totally different, but I'm adding it to the mosaic of who I am.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. I love your take on that. And it's just interesting because like I have my take on it, and then to hear yours, I love hearing about like the refinement process, how we're constantly each day given the chance to show up as, you know, different, more fine-tuned versions of ourselves based on the things that we are experiencing. And it's like a constant recalibration based off of the information that we're receiving and based on the experiences that we're having.
That's right.
So that we can better adapt to the world around us. Yeah. They have a definition on refinement, and it was basically about like getting rid of impurities. There's a process of purification.
That's right.
A process of improvement, and getting rid of the things that are no longer pure and serving you. But for my own personal take, when I came up with this idea, I was thinking about we all go through very hard moments in life.
That's right.
And what I've seen time and time again is I feel like there's two kinds of people in the world. You can let a hard situation turn you bitter, jaded, and cold.
That's right.
And closed off to the world and the people around you. Or you can let it refine you. You can let it bring out some really good principles and some good traits from that hardship. It's almost like the discipline of alchemy. Yeah. You know, transforming that hardship into a triumph. Yeah.
Or another way, I love that, and another way that a way that I think about it, which is very similar with one of my favorite authors, Richard Rohr, says when we go through something painful or we go through something traumatic, we have a choice to either transmit that or let it be used for transformation. Because what happens is like if something bad happens to me, something traumatic happens to me, I have a choice. Am I going to then go and hurt others?
Further perpetrate it, yes.
Am I going to traumatize others? Correct. Or am I going to use that experience for transformation so that I can come out a better person or a different person or a more refined person and say, you know what, I'm not going to continue the cycle of hurt and pain, of trauma. I'm going to transform into something that is beautiful, that is full of love, that is full of perspective, so that when I meet someone else who has gone through the same pain, the same trauma, I can say, hey, me too. And I've come out on the other side. And the part of the whole transforming, the part of the refining is that we live in a culture that doesn't want to go through whatever the experience is. Because to become transformed, to be refined, you have to go through the experience. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You can't go. You got to go right through it.
Right.
And and you got to feel it. You have to feel the feels. You have to go through that particular process to get to the transformation. Yeah. To get to the refining.
A lot of people want to numb the pain.
That's right.
They want to avoid the pain, distract themselves from the pain, and they don't work through it. Right. And the transformation doesn't occur, and you are still at point A. Yeah. And, you know, that is very real. And, you know, all I can say is we are all living our lives and going through this world. And I'm a very visual person. Yeah. So I imagine a trail following me. And we all have these trails following us, and it's our legacy. Are you leaving a legacy of hurt and pain?
That's right.
Because of hurt that you never dealt with? Yeah. Or are you going to be leaving a legacy of healing and restoration and love because you went through that pain and you were able to be that light for someone who was in a hard time.
Yeah.
So I task myself and the people who I come encounter with to leave a legacy of healing and restoration. The world needs it. And that term hurt people.
Yeah.
That's really true and it's sad. But I think it's to your point, that would apply to the people who don't want to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
They don't want to go through the process of refinement through the fire.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we all have a choice in this life, and I can just speak to I would say there's 3 defining moments in my life of severe hardship and severe struggle that I could have let it turn me into somebody else.
Right.
But I didn't. And the first real moment of like transformation in my life was my sophomore year of high school. So just a little background. Growing up in Buffalo, it was not for the weak.
Yeah, it's cold up there. It's too cold up there.
For anybody.
Why do y'all live up there?
Ask my parents. Ask Tanya and Doug. I do not know. But
Tiny?
Tanya.
Okay. I was like, okay.
Wait, that's funny though. My dog, my first dog was actually named Tiny.
Oh wow. Was it an actual tiny dog?
It was a toy fox terrier.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was like mad though. He was tiny, but he had a huge heart.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. Rest in peace, Tiny.
Yeah. We love you, Tiny.
Yeah. But anyways, in Buffalo, it's very cold. Anybody who knows Game of Thrones, it was the wall at the north. So within that experience though, environment aside, like climate wise, it was a really tough environment, just the people.
Yeah.
And I'm a Black male, and I was born into this demographic that was not really, it was not comfortable.
Yeah. You telling me there wasn't a lot of Black people in Buffalo?
Well, actually, there actually is. What? In the part of the city, yeah. Like, you got so I grew up around like the east side of Buffalo.
Wow.
So east side of Buffalo is predominantly Black, and then you got the west side predominantly Puerto Rican.
Wow.
And then you have like the suburbs where it gets a little bit more, Caucasian. But growing up in the east side, for the first like 6 years of my life, very tough environment. Low income, poverty, crime, you name it. And it was just a hyper aggressive state to be living in.
Yeah.
So I just remembered always feeling on edge and antsy and nervous and being on like anticipating attack, verbal abuse or physical abuse. By the grace of God, I had an older brother. So like he was always, my defender and my protector.
That's right.
But Pat, long story short, navigating that terrain was really challenging because my mother and father, they always wanted the best for us. My mom was a school teacher, and she eventually became a principal in the Buffalo public school system. And my dad, he got us into the Church of Christ.
Yeah.
Around 2001. It was like when I was going into second grade. So we had this church background paired with education.
Yeah.
So we were very prim and proper and, like disciplined. My dad also has a law enforcement background.
Yep.
So disciplined, prim, proper. We stood upright. We dressed, like little schoolboys.
Yep.
And when we stepped outside the house, those kids tore us up.
Absolutely.
Like, picked on us. Like,
absolutely.
Incessantly. Absolutely. I'm like walking out like TD Jakes, and they're all 50 Cent.
Yeah, absolutely. I when I was listening to, I was like, you were absolutely torn
to shreds
up.
To shreds.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so interesting. I was reading. There's this book called "Who's Afraid of Post Blackness" by Torre, and the kind of the big moment of the book is, however many Black people there are in the world, is that many different ways to be Black.
Thank you.
And I would expand that to whatever, whether you're white, Latin, Hispanic, what age, whatever. Like and we get so stuck of like well, you look like this, so
Yes.
therefore you must talk this way,
Mm-hmm.
you must dress this kind of way, you must listen to this kind of music and this kind of media. It's like I am a product of partly of my environment.
Yes.
So if I didn't get to choose where I grew up, I didn't get to choose at the fact that my mother likes this kind of music, or my father likes these kind of movies, or my cousins were about this kind of sport, or
Yes.
whatever. I'm just kind of trying to exist and live in this world, and doesn't change my blackness because I wear a polo, or because I wear a bow tie, or because I wear, baggy clothes. It's like I'm still, and if I put on my Jesus, hat, like I'm still this Christ bearing, this God bearing image. Like I'm not less than because I don't talk, walk, think like you.
Precisely.
Right.
Your identity is given to you from God first and foremost.
That's right.
And then we are supposed to fit in this mold
Right.
that pop culture has said is,
Yeah.
this is a black male.
Yeah.
This is how you are going to dress.
Yeah. I'm a big Weezer fan.
See, let's go.
Yeah. And I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
And it's like Weezer's like for dweebs, and like it's
Hey.
nerdy, and I'm like,
Hey.
and tell me who you like, and I'll make fun of them.
Yeah. But good for you for being able to be bold enough.
Yeah.
And this is what it came down to eventually for me, being bold enough, brave enough, and having the audacity to be who you actually are,
Yeah.
not who the world told you to be.
That's right.
Because it's so much easier to just fall on your back and blend into the mesh of everybody around you. That's the easy thing to do.
It really is.
It's hard to stand up and be like, hey, actually, that doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
And even if that makes me stand out in the crowd, I'm okay standing alone because I got God with me.
That's right.
So good for you, Pat.
Yeah.
Like seriously,
Yeah.
I mean that.
Thanks.
But so yeah, it's so true. I'm glad that we can share that that shared experience, because kind of like the pain of that though that comes with it.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
You feel almost excommunicated in a sense. But yeah, very much so. They were like, oh, why do you talk white? You act white, like you
what does
dress
it even
white.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I didn't even realize I was doing this. Like I was just a kid
being me. Yeah,
literally
exactly.
just being a human being.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I had this. It was like I felt like I was inherently wrong,
Right.
and I felt inherently flawed, and I felt like I was a fluke that made it into the universe.
Right.
I was like, God must have had a freak accident,
Yeah.
and I was a byproduct of that accident.
Yeah.
I was not supposed to be created,
Wow.
and
yeah.
it was a heavy thing growing up to live, because it wasn't even just the kids outside in the street.
Sure.
It wasn't just the kids at school. It came from family too.
Oh yeah.
And that's like a different kind of pain, because we already know the world is crazy, but the family is supposed to be like, this is the one place in the world where like we are sheltered and protected.
Yeah.
So when you are getting shunned and rejected from the people literally related to you by blood, you start to feel like there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So all that to say, leading up to 15, my sophomore year, I had felt just like I didn't belong. I felt like a mistake. I kind of hated who I was. This is really bad to say, but like back then I was like, oh, like I'm fat, I'm dark skinned.
Yeah.
I thought I was ugly. I just had all these issues, and I was like, I'm everything that the world hates.
Wow.
And the kids around me validated that feeling, but something changed. My sophomore year, I was sitting in my English class, and I remember I was sitting at this table with three of my classmates, Miles, Alana, Tamaya. It was actually 4, and Taylor. And I was looking at them, and they were like kind of like popular, like the cooler kids, and we got along. But like, I was like, what is so different between myself and all of them?
Sure.
I was like, what is really different? And I was like, you know what, Donte, the only thing that is different is that they're all comfortable being who they are.
That's right.
Letting it show, and they're not hiding it. But you have been hiding who you are for so long. You've been a shell of yourself. And in that moment, Pat, I kid you not, the trajectory of my life made a 180 change. I went from nobody knowing me, nobody talking to me, to junior year, prom prince.
Wow.
Senior year, 2 accolades, least likely to be forgotten, and best excuses, which
Remember that excuse he came up with?
I guess I was good with the excuses. That one threw me, but yeah.
What was your favorite excuse you ever come up with?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think that it was just literally like an ongoing dialogue of excuses as to like the teacher's like, oh, why are you 15 minutes late? And I'm like, oh, well, like my mom, she didn't wake me up this morning and I had to like run to school and I was sweating and then the doors were locked. So I had to get my friend to open the door so I couldn't go through the front office because I'll get detention because I'm already on my third write-up.
Right.
So I was just like always in this constant state of coming up with stuff.
So you get like a word salad, and they were just like, you know what, just sit down.
They took it. They were just like, all right, Donte. like my teachers knew it, and they were just like, that's Donte.
Yeah.
I came up with this slogan called Donte Runs Cleve Hill, and it was the funniest thing because I actually didn't even like. It was right in like 2010 when Facebook just hit. Yeah. For like everybody, not just college students. And somebody made a page on Facebook called Donte Runs Cleve Hill. Because I started to, that was my high school, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I just started to like say it all the time, like as a joke. But it took on like fire. And I got so much hate on that page. But also on the back end of it, I got so much like love and adoration.
Yeah.
And to me, it was kind of just a joke, but people started to take it serious. And I just ran with it.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting, Pat, because for the first time in my life, I let my personality be on full display. Yeah. And the way that the world received it, it was like, whoa, like there's going to be people who are always having something to say. Cue my senior quote, people will always talk. Yeah. So I always give them something to talk about. Yeah. They're always going to have something to say, but there's people who need you. Yeah. There's people who need your unique take, your unique expression.
Absolutely.
They need your voice. Yeah. And you're doing yourself and honestly the population a disservice if you keep it to yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and it's just like, I always think it's funny when people, post hateful comments or whatever on something as simple as that. It's like, so you're telling me I live in your head for rent free?
Oh yeah.
I love that for you.
Occupying all that mental real estate.
I love that I am so much running in your mind that you have to, hop on the computer and cobble together words to like say something nasty about me. Down. Yeah. And it's just like, cool. Well, and it's like I let it roll off me. Whenever I haven't got that often, those kind of things often, but when I do, it's like all that criticism. It's like, and if it's good criticism, we receive it. We, listen to it, see if it's something that is worthy for me to consider and et cetera. But then otherwise it's like rolling off my back, like water off a duck's back. Like I can't do that. And another thing something you had said, I was like, it made me think of this, which is, and I used to be like part of my upbringing is I used to be a huge stutterer. I had a stuttering problem when I was in elementary school.
Never know.
And I had a speech therapist. So it's kind of hilarious that like most of my work is oral communications, public speaking, etc. When I used to be like a stutterer, like legit could not communicate very well with people. I'm dyslexic. Wow. And then when I was in middle school, between middle and high school, I was playing football, and then in the locker room, someone was like, "Something's wrong with your back, Patrick." I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah. And then I went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have severe scoliosis." Ooh, so then I had to have a massive back surgery.
What?
My 8th grade, the end of my 8th grade, started my 9th grade year, and I had to went in, cut me open, put a metal rod in my back, had to learn how to walk again, all this kind of crazy stuff. But all I had to say is that I used to have this anger problem. I was very angry, and there's a lot that kind of was a part of how I ended up that way or why I was reacting to the world in that way. But one thing that I've learned over time is that I need to have tough skin.
Yeah.
Because the world is full of things that will try to tear you down, try to bring you down, really try to make you question who you are and everything, right?
Yeah.
But have a tough skin, but have a tender heart.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people have tough skin and a tough heart.
Yes.
And it's like, no, like you still need to have this soft, tender heart, this compassionate heart, this empathetic heart for others. And we, if we're not careful, we can, in the process of trying to have a tough skin and being this person who is confident and self-assured, you will then harden your heart, which is not a beautiful place to be. Equally, like you don't want to have, soft skin, very sensitive skin, and a soft heart, because then
you're crumbling
you're
every
always
step of the way.
crumbling.
Yeah,
You're always
it's a
crumbling.
balance.
It is a balance. Life is a balance.
It truly is, and I think there comes a level of discernment with knowing how soft and how hard to be in different situations. What you said, it rang something in me, because I used to be very. I become this person that is confident and self-assured, and I don't need external validation. But going through what I went through in Buffalo, I wouldn't lie. Like, my heart did turn cold to a lot of those kids who gave me hell.
Right.
But it's been a blessing from the Lord in recent years. My heart has softened. Yeah. And how I took it so personal, now I look back on those kids, and you know what I think? You guys were attacking me, not because there was anything wrong with me, but really there was something going on inside of you.
That's right.
There was hurt and trauma inside of you that you were, in turn, hurting me out of your own hurt, because those kids, what they saw and what I couldn't see to rationalize that treatment, they saw myself with my older brother, my mother, and my father. They saw a family. They saw a loving family, parents who cared about their kids and who made sure that we were dressed nice.
Right.
That made sure that we knew how to like conduct ourselves in public. Yeah. And you have these kids who are coming from broken homes. Their parents might be alcoholics. It's a single mom household. So there's a lot of brokenness that they might be dealing with. And really, it's like, you don't hate me. You actually wish you had the setup that I have. And I actually can extend compassion to you. I extend love to you, because you're hurt and you just don't know how to express it. So you're just trying to tear me down. Yeah. So it's taken a lot of time for me to mature and to gain that perspective. But it's been healing for myself, because I no longer have these people. I'm no longer drinking that poison. Yeah. Of wanting to hurt them and wanting to show them, like, oh, look how I turned out. Right. I don't need to do that.
Right. No. Yeah. That's right. That's good.
But hearing your story, it's interesting, because I hear that a lot. It's funny. I know a lot of people who go into psychology, it's because they actually have mental health struggles. So they want to actually study the discipline of the brain. Right. To help them better understand themselves. Or people, like you said, you had a stutter, and now you are always doing this public speaking. Right. And it's almost like to combat that, what felt like a weakness, you went all the way forward in that direction, full throttle, and now you're doing what you probably never thought in a million years.
I couldn't have, the 16-year-old version, the 16-year-old Patrick could not imagine that this would be my life right now. Wow. Not even close. And I
claps to that.
Claps to that. It's also amazing when people are 16 are like, I'm gonna be a nurse one day, and they become a nurse. I'm like, that is amazing. Yeah. Or it's like, I want to create content, or I want to be a business leader, and it's like I love that too. Yeah. But I also know that what's truer for a lot of us is that life truly is mysterious. I had no idea what was going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Like, again, I met you this year, and if you would have said, who are you going to meet this year? I was like, I don't know who I'm going to meet this year, but I've met Donte. Like, that's something, and what a gift it's been.
Yeah.
And it's like, who knows what the rest of this year has for me if I just simply be present enough,
Yeah.
pay attention, and show up every day ready to receive what it is that God is going to bring my way.
Yeah.
So,
And we're just getting started.
And we're just getting started. That's right.
We are just getting started.
Right.
We got a lot
That's right.
to tear up here in Nashville. But it truly is a gift to just like stay present, because the present moment truly is a present.
Yeah.
And it's a gift from God.
Yeah.
And yeah, those people who like knew who they wanted to be at 14, 15, I mean, honestly, I'm saying this, kudos to them.
Absolutely.
It was not me.
Right.
I have been all over the place. You know, there is one thing I knew at 15, and it was that I wanted to move to California.
You did that.
And I did, yeah. I moved to LA for 5 years, and that was one thing that just always kind of like, I never knew the career, but I knew something about Los Angeles. Like, I think it was being in Buffalo, and it's like Snowmageddon every other day. And you see like palm trees and like the beach and Malibu and like, you know, the cars with the top down, and you're just like, oh my goodness, like that just seems like not even the real world. So that always called me, and I'm glad that I answered that call. But
and it was a risk.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got to take risk in life. And I mean, and even if you don't make the big risk of like moving to a completely new city, new state, I tell people all the time, it's like, even if you don't make that kind of a risky move, I think putting yourself in different environments is important. So travel.
Yes.
So if you love the city that you're living in, well, then you can still travel the world, travel this country. There's so many places and so many different types of people to see and to meet that will only help you in your development as a human. So no matter the situation, whether you pack up your bags and leave the city you're in right now, but maybe you're not down with that, well, then just get on an airplane or you don't like a plane, get in your car.
Yes.
You know, like do something, take the road trip.
Yes.
Put yourself in different places.
I love your mindset, because it very much is like the way that I view the world and the way that I've come to experience some real transformation. We're talking about letting things refine us.
Yeah, that's right.
Travel has refined me to a degree that I cannot articulate. My first time abroad was my senior year. They had every 2 years they took us to a Europe trip to London, Paris, and Italy. That completely blew my mind. And I always say, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
When you go to other parts of the world, you are like, whoa, like I never knew people even live like this. I never knew life could feel like this.
Yeah.
And each time I've traveled to a new country, I believe I've maybe visited about 14 countries so far in my life.
Yeah.
I have been given a gem from each country that's colored my life experience, and it's colored my perspective. And I feel like I have a grander perspective, and I have a greater level of understanding because of my travels. So
yeah, that's
to your
right.
point.
Yeah. And I mean, and to that end, it's like if you look around at your life and you've rarely, if ever, been the other in a space where you look around, it's like, oh, I'm very much different in this space. Like especially if you're a black person that lives in the South or lives in Buffalo, you have been in spaces where it's like, I am the only black person in this space.
I'm used to it now.
I'm used to it. Yeah. Well,
well, you're right.
You know, and see, like
You're
Nashville, I can become a quick regular because then it's like, oh yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah.
I know Patrick. I'm like, I bet you do remember me.
Because like, look around, I'm the only one in the room.
Now that's also worked on like some bad, like not bad, but like sometimes if I'm by myself at a restaurant, people will think that I'm a Uber driver.
Oh no,
like a Uber
driver.
Eats, and they're like, "You get to pick up food." I'm like, "No,
I'm a patron.
I'm here to patron the restaurant. I just need one. I just need a seat for one."
Terrible.
I'm like, "Yeah, I am actually. Can I get the food? Yeah,
yeah, actually, I am. Like
for Rebecca, yeah."
Hey, use it to your advantage, right?
Yeah.
Having to be the only person, that's another interesting experience too. When you start to you know, I've just been in that position a lot of times where I have been the only Black person. I studied abroad in Singapore, and let's talk about
Yeah.
not a lot of Black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kid you not, I was there for 6 weeks. I maybe saw 3.
Yeah.
But everything in my life, I feel like it has been used. Everything, I always say, everything is happening for me. Yeah. It's all happening for you, because having to stand on your own 2 feet in those spaces where you are the other, all it's ever done is made me more resilient, more proud of who I am, and it's made me more courageous because I dare to go where there is not a lot of people who look like me and think like me.
Yeah.
And it's empowered me to also do that in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in Singapore. It doesn't have to be in a conference room with C-level executives. It's just the way I carry myself now. I know that because I've stood on my own 2 feet in those spaces where I was othered, I can go anywhere and I'm going to be okay.
And even if, again, to open it up a little bit, even if you can't be in a place where you are physically the other in the space, go to a place where you clearly know that, like, I bet you people think differently than me in this space.
Oh, let's please talk about that part.
Like, I should let me sit and be in here because I will learn something. I will learn that maybe I didn't have these quote unquote kinds of people figured out. Who knows the gift you'll learn in that. So, I mean, I just think it's good for us to be in spaces where we're other on, especially on occasion.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I can't let that one slide. Let's just say it, especially in this current era.
Sure.
With the state of the world, the state of politics.
Yeah.
The division between the Republican and the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
People are not willing to see another person's perspective. People are not willing to have conversations. People are not willing to meet people halfway. Yeah. And that is the scariest thing that I have witnessed. Yeah. More than anything, it is people are so rigid in their way of thinking now. Yeah. And the division has gotten so wide. That is what the devil wants. You need to be willing to have a conversation with someone who doesn't look like you, think like you, or have your same experiences. You need to be willing to have that uncomfortable exchange because you're going to see on the other end of it, that's another human being who is doing their best just like you, but they might have a different take on it. And
and it's hopeful that, like, if you walk into that conversation with someone who thinks differently than you with curiosity and they equally do the same, it's not saying that you're both going to walk away from that conversation change. You will likely still have your same opinions and thoughts and perspectives as will they, but you will gain a little bit more understanding of, like, how they got to where they got.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that, like, it doesn't mean like, okay, like, I'm going to now love everyone who thinks this way in the way that I have enjoyed this conversation, but I now have a better understanding of why it is that they hold this perspective or hold these opinions or hold these thoughts. And I get it, even in saying that some people hear that and say that's not good enough and that's too whatever, gracious, to fill in the blank. I still think that there's something valuable about sitting down with people who are unlike you.
So true.
Just to have some type of conversation, not so that you can ultimately change their mind or vice versa. Yeah. But to gain a little bit more understanding. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Compassion. Empathy. Understanding.
But it's a two-way streak though, right? Like, and that's one thing. It's like some people do make that effort to be curious, to make the effort to show empathy and compassion, and it's not received well. So I get it. I get why that could be hard and that folks are resistant to doing that.
Yeah, and you know what though? That's on. You can only task yourself to show up and have an open heart to a conversation. I can't make the person on the receiving end of that be in that state. Hopefully they are, because I would imagine people want to understand.
You would think.
I'd like to think that people want to understand why people think the way they think and do the things that they do. But I'm optimistic. I hope people don't have like evil intentions and evil hearts. I'm like, there must be something that I'm not seeing. Right. Please illuminate it for me. Right. but that's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
We can't control anything outside of ourselves. So, but just to bring it back, Pat.
Okay.
Quick little like rundown. The breakthrough that I had my sophomore year, I let all of the people who were telling me that I wasn't good enough, all the people who made me feel small, I didn't let it define me. I let it refine me by actually saying, you know what? Everything around me has been telling me to stay small, stay quiet, and to suppress everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually going to do the exact opposite, because there must be something really dangerous that I'm working with that people do not want to let out. And
Right,
I completely
yeah.
let it
Yeah.
refine me for the better. And that set me up for, whew, it really set me up for a different life, Pat. I went to college in Buffalo, University of Buffalo. I joined Leadership House. I pledged a professional fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi.
Nice.
That also like bolstered my, social etiquette and confidence, the way I maneuver a room, the way I carry myself. And then I had an incident in 2018, Pat, where I dealt with my first like real heartbreak.
Yep.
But, instead of that turning me cold, I decided to choose myself in a way that I didn't choose myself before. And I decided to love myself in a way that I never loved myself before, because what I realized I was doing, even though I had these amazing breakthroughs leading up to that, I would give my power away all the time to people by looking for their external validation,
Yeah.
by looking for their sign off, their approval, people pleasing. I was always looking for somebody to hang out with. I was always looking for somebody to regulate me. And once I took that back and I reclaimed it and I said, you know what? Everything starts from within. I chose myself. And in 2020, I lost 55 pounds. I did
Wow.
my first professional set of headshots.
Wow.
Started acting, modeling, serving. My world blew up. So we're still very much on the journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I just know there's something beautiful about letting the hard things that life throw you, not letting it destroy you, but digging deep to use tools you never used before.
Yeah.
And to heal the people around you.
Yeah, that's great.
Help.
That's awesome.
Hey,
What a
thank you,
journey.
Pat. It's been a journey, and it's still very much ongoing.
On it. Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, it's not like you said earlier, like you never really like just arrive.
Yeah.
Like it's ongoing.
It's
and
ongoing.
I'm still very this moment dealing with some hardships, but I know that I know it won't defeat me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I love it.
Well, Pat, I just want to really thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, of course. This was incredible.
You are incredible. You are incredible. Your take on life, the way that even being at church, the last time I was at the Church of Christ, I saw how the people just come up to you and they're just like, Pat, what's going on? Like, you are that guy because it's who you are. Life is a reflection of who you are, and I can see that you treat people very, very well, and people feel safe and comfortable with you.
It's very nice for you to say. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Pat, I want to ask you this before you go.
Okay.
This is the New Standard podcast.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, where would you like to see a new standard exemplified in this current world?
Oh, where would I like to see a new standard?
Yeah, what's lacking nowadays? Like, what do you want to see a new standard? Do you want to see the bar raised?
Oh, man. I think it's much of what we've been talking about today, which is I truly would love for the standard of, I think we need to get back to more and more empathy.
Yes.
More and more curiosity.
Yes.
I think those standards we need to step up a little bit in that. And I think genuine curiosity and genuine empathy. Okay. And I think that maybe that added word of genuine needs to be a part of it, because we all have like faked curiosity and we all have faked empathy in our lives. And it's like, okay, how do I actually show up and be this genuine, empathetic, compassionate, loving person?
Yeah.
And one thing I would love what I'm trying to do in my own life is recently, and this has been, not recently, but a while ago, I finally realized like why we all love dogs so much
Dogs, yeah.
and animals in general.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not going to become, this won't be like this amazing, it may be a new take for some people that are hearing and watching this, but what, especially dogs, but I would say is true for a lot of animals, there are loving, non-judgmental presence in our life.
Yes, yes.
When you walk in that door, your dog is always excited to see you.
You're right.
When you're having a bad day, you have to say nothing, but the dog will show up,
They just love you.
love you, sit beside you. They don't try to fix you. They don't try to give you the right words to think it through.
Yeah.
They're just present.
Their presence.
They're literally loving, judgmental presence in our lives. That's why when we lose them, it hurts so much, because we are lacking that loving, judgmental presence in our life. May we be those kinds of people where people are like, you are a loving, judgmental presence in my life. So more of that. Make that the new standard.
Let's make that the new standard. My goal now is to become a golden retriever.
That's right.
After hearing
That's
that.
right. That's right. That's right.
That is so powerful, and that is like
Who hates a golden retriever?
nobody. No, if you do, then
Exactly.
I gotta get you in some therapy.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Thank you for your take on new standard. And
thank you.
So this has been rebooted in Nashville. So come on, for the Nashville audience, where is one of your favorite cafes in Nashville? Because I'm a coffee.
Oh,
junkie.
wow.
I love coffee.
So I'll always and forever shout out Dose.
Dose.
Oh,
Okay.
Sorry. Not Dose. Well, yes, I do love Dose.
They're Barcelona's fire.
They're Barcelona's fire. But I do love Dose. Shout out Dose on Murphy and in East Nashville.
Yeah.
But truly the best coffee shop in Nashville, in my opinion, is Crema.
Crema,
yeah.
okay.
Crema will always be my number one. I love everything about Crema.
Yeah.
The owner is she's amazing. Like, it's just an incredible coffee shop. It's been around Nashville for a long time. So Crema is up there.
Which location?
Downtown is like the OG.
That's the one, okay.
That's
Okay.
the one.
Been
That's
there
the
once.
one that if you're gonna start there. But
Okay.
they have other locations. But I love Crema. But now I feel like I got to shout out some other ones too, like, because then
Throw
people
it
get
down.
mad at me. If you get mad at me, I don't want people to get mad at me.
So we got
So
Dose,
shout
Crema.
out Dose, Crema, Frothy Monkey.
Frothy Monkey.
Like, Frothy Monkey is like incredible
Yeah.
staff of people. I love them all so much. And I'll give you one more. Oh, this is gonna be
Ooh.
so tricky. I'm gonna have to
Ooh.
do a. Oh well, okay. I'm gonna give you two more.
Okay. Let's go.
So five. I got to give you another one from East Nashville. So shout out Ugly Mug.
That's fire. I've been there once.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
sometimes.
the space is
Yes,
great.
yes.
The beverages, the food is great. Like, I love them. I love that spot so much.
Yeah.
And then honestly, a brand new spot, which probably is like legitimately, they do the fanciest coffees
Yeah.
in town, which is Now and Then.
Now
And
and
so
Then,
Now and Then
okay.
currently is in the Audrey, which is in East Nashville, which is the Sean Brock restaurant. But they're about to open up their own brick and mortar in East Nashville off of Main Street. So
Okay.
be on the lookout for Now and Then coffee.
I have not tried that, but that's now on my list.
Yeah, you got to go there.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Patrick, thank you.
I didn't give you one, I gave you five.
This has been great. Where can the people find you to stay in touch with you?
Oh, yeah. Instagram, Patrick
Okay.
Chappell, Chappell. Patrick Podcasts on all the platforms. Otter Creek West End is the church I'm at. And French Fry Pat. It's just,
Let's go.
that literally is called French Fry Pat. So you can follow the French Fry account. It's just French fries. That really is all it is.
Let's go. We need to get French fry account.
That's right.
All right. Well, Pat, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Donte.
Of course.
Peace.
Anytime.